Hi there, it's Simone. Today I would like to share a bit about my fountain pens and inks. And before I get too deep into the chatty part, let me talk about the details. So this is a traveler's notebook that I actually made myself. Um, the notebook that you see in the beginning right here, this is a Taroko shop Tomoe River paper insert, and the one in the back, this is from Paper Penguins Co. and I got it in a grab bag. The size of these notebooks is personal size, and I don't use personal size anymore. But I still had these notebooks laying around, and so I decided, because I had made this cover myself and I really liked it, that I would use this for kind of an archive. I want to use the second notebook for a washi tape journal. And then the first one, as you can see, is a ink journal kind of thing. Ink samples, swatching inks, learning about their properties and all that. So, yes, I have actually created a winter ink palette using this image as inspiration. And again, before I'm going to chat about all the things, let me share the colors with you. So I looked at them, and this first one is Noodler's Apache Sunset. Um, I just looked at the image and then picked samples from the website. And this one is Monteverde Strawberry Shortcake. And then I have several blues and blue greens. The first one that you can see here is Diamine Meadow. Diamine? I don't know. Let me say diamine for now. And if you know if it's diamine or diamine, you can correct me in the comments below. The second one is really dark one, is the Diamine Aurora Borealis, and that has become a favorite of mine. This one is Robert Oster Turkey, and I will talk about that later. And then this one is Sailor Shikiori Yuki Akari. So I picked 6 fountain pen inks, and when I went through and sampled them, and after the experience that I have made with the fountain pens and fountain pen inks in the fall, I only had 4 fountain pens that I could actually fill. I did have a Lamy Safari Joy. Are they Lamy Joy? Lamy Safari Joy? I don't know. It's one of those fountain pens with a broad nib. I think it was a 1.5 stub nib. And they look like calligraphy pens, very pointy and long. And I have had it in my stash since my school days, and never really used it anymore because of the broad nib. But since the Lamis are, especially the Safaris and this Joy one, you can easily slide off the. Now I'm totally blanking on the. In Germany it's called feather, but here it's called nib. Um, you can easily slide them on and off. I decided to go ahead and purchase an F nib because that's what I'm enjoying most at the moment, and so make this fountain pen usable again. So now I have 5, and I hope Santa is bringing me one more Lamy Safari so I can ink up the 6th color, which is the turkey doesn't have any fountain pen yet. So while I am swatching, and I am using just a regular paintbrush because I don't have anything else to use it. I don't want to waste Q-tips, and I'm probably such a beginner and noob or ignorant that I don't know why you shouldn't be using a paintbrush for this. I wash it and rinse it, and then I dry it, and then I go into the next sample bottle. So if there's something that speaks against this, please let me know. I'm definitely not someone who is very invested in fountain pens knowledge. I haven't really researched all of that yet, just because how I'm using the inks and the fountain pens that I'm using right now totally works for me. And I don't really want to dive much deeper than this. So, why did I actually create a winter ink palette in the fall? I went through I'm trying to go through my stash and look at things that I have and not use and find reasons why I'm not using them, or destash them if they don't no longer suit my needs. And that's exactly what happened when I looked at all of my fountain pens. I realized I'm not using them. The only fountain pen that I'm using is black and gray. And I was wondering if maybe the colors that I don't really have any full ink bottles. The only inks is these samples that I think exclusively purchased from Goulet Pens. Again, because it's easily accessible, it's one of the biggest companies out there, and that's why I found them, and I don't have any complaints, and so I'm not diving any deeper than this. I'm totally fine the way it works right now for me. And so I decided, well, let me try this one more time. I decided to ink up all the 6 pens that I own with inks that I choose because I like them. The last time I had colored inks was one of those surprise bags from Goulet Pens. And so I decided, no, I'm not going that way. I had researched a while ago. I had found inks that I really liked. And I also watched some YouTubers like Adventure Denali. So if you are interested in fountain pens, I highly recommend her channel. I'm always very inspired by the way her whole YouTube videos just have a really familiar feeling. It's just a joy to watch her videos. That's all I can say. So I had found or seen other people use different fountain pens and had them on my fountain pen inks and had them on my list. And so I decided to pick 6 different colors and order them and give those fountain pens and the colored inks one last chance, and then I would decide if I kept the pens, if I would destash all of my colored inks and just stick with gray and black, or what I would do. Now, when the inks came, and you saw an image earlier, those colors looked super like a fall color palette to me. I was like, that is so fun. I never intended it to be that way. Nothing. And then when I went through another destash and I looked through all of my magazines and ripped out pages that I liked and wanted to use in my journal, I found this page. And oh my goodness, I loved those colors. It represented winter so perfectly to me, which then led to the thought, what if I picked a winter ink palette based on that image? And so that's what I did. The 6 samples that I have here were about $20. And really, it's all I actually need. I'm really enjoying the colors. I'm enjoying using them for a couple of months. And then I'm totally fine with swapping them out. So right now, let me say this, I don't need full ink bottles. Those samples are perfectly fine and are perfectly enough. Maybe I will go ahead and create a spring ink palette and maybe a summer one. Maybe not. I'm not sure yet. I might think about purchases in 2021 and how I'm doing my budget. And I probably will allot funds for this to create a color palette for the summer and spring. But I don't know if I'm going to keep on doing this forever. Right now, I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying writing with the fountain pens inked up with these inks. So I have, the way that I usually do this is I put down one layer with the ink, and then I will add a bit more on one side of the rectangle, because I feel sometimes, even if they are not sheening inks, not glimmering inks, none of this, but the intensity when you go over the same thing, the way these colors like add up when they sit on top of each other is really interesting. And so I really try to do that. And when I'm done with the whole thing, I will add water to see how easily they are they smear when they come into contact with water. That was originally one of my biggest concerns, and that's why I used gray and black mostly, because those were waterproof or near waterproof inks that I could use. And I would have never thought to say right now the way that I would rate these. I haven't written with the turkey yet, but I really enjoy the Diamine Meadow and Aurora Borealis. They are really, they also look really, really nice together. The Aurora Borealis almost looks like black when you're not looking close enough. The Shikiori ink is very, very light. I have it in the extra fine fountain pen because it has a turquoise. It's the turquoise Twisby extra fine, so the colors matched up. But I think that is too fine for the light ink because you can barely read it. And then the strawberry shortcake. I probably wouldn't get it again. It fits with this ink palette and it works with the color scheme, but it does look, that's a problem that I have with lots of red inks, be it watercolors or fountain pens. It's really hard to not be reminded of blood. I mean, yes, blood dries very dark, but still, it's a weird thing. And then the Noodler's Apache Sunset is really, really nice. However, and I'm not going to touch on this too much, but I have done some research. I stumbled across a post about Noodlers and have researched a tiny bit, and I'm not so sure that I would like to continue supporting this company. So I might opt out of getting any more Noodler samplers. I will use what I have right now, but I'm probably not going to give more money to them than I already have. So one more thing, even though you don't really see the watercolor, the fountain pens that I have, I went ahead and got rid of 2 of the fountain pens that I had before that were inked up with my fall ink palette, because I noticed that I do not enjoy writing with them, and I just don't really like them that much. So I sold them to someone who was interested in them, and then that's how I'm trying to deal with intentional stash and having only those things that I truly enjoy. So I'm actually looking forward to having one more fountain pen after Christmas, but I think that will complete my collection. Here's a close-up. I really, really like how the colors look together, how these turned out. I really enjoyed making this, and I am kind of looking forward to the spring when I can make one more of those. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon. Until then, bye!